Hey, it's Azriel
Hello.
Lawless, and you've dropped down the elevator and found yourself another Vella Lawless interview. And today I'm here with LJ Vitanza. Say hi, LJ.
You could call me Lisa though.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Yeah.
LJ's what
I
you write by, though, right?
yeah. Just because I know research shows men won't pick up horror books that are written by women, so I kind of have to hide
Oh,
behind LJ. Boo, but yes,
nice. Fake them out. Fake them out.
yes.
Make them think
Try.
you're Luke.
Yes. It could be yeah. If you want to go by Luke,
You could be Luke, or you could be a Leon,
right? It could be
or
anything.
or a Liam.
Right. Yeah. Liam's more popular now.
Yes, it is. It is. So I'm going to ask you the first Vella question, and that is, when, my dear Lisa, did you start writing? Now, I actually probably know the answer to this because of our pre-chat, but go
Right.
ahead.
I don't know, it might kind of shock people, but last year is when I started. I took it seriously. I always knew since middle school I wanted to write a book at some point, but life got in the way, and then marriage, kids, and I just kind of put it off until now. And about 2 years ago, I'm like, there's no guarantees with life, so I got to start this before I go. And that's when
Wow.
so I started. I actually, before I even wrote my first words, I read, because every successful writer says read. So I picked up my genre and I read constantly, and I saw the patterns, and that's when I'm like, okay, I know how to do this. But then I also joined a group on Facebook of successful indie writers, and I started taking notes on all their advice. So, and then last year I'm like, okay, it's time.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so you jumped on your socials, you got in there with some indie writers, you saw what you
right,
were against,
learn
and
from their
then
successes and failures.
right on. And so then but you, at this point, you were wanting to write for like Kindle, right? You were wanting to like
Well, I
publish
was
your own
right.
stuff, or
Well, I saw Vella mentioned, and I was like, well, I wasn't really interested in that platform, like a serialized writing. I just wanted to go right into the novel. But then there's a lot of expense when you self-publish, and that's the route I decided to go on, because I didn't want to wait forever and try to query agents and wait for my manuscript to be accepted, because it could be years before your book's published.
dude,
So
I didn't even think of going that way this time.
yeah. Well, I think that now for self-publishing, it's such a huge option, and there's so much more success, I think, on this platform, like doing it this way. So, and
Yeah.
I like a challenge. I like the business side, even though I'd prefer to write all day. I still enjoy putting myself out there, meeting people, and
Do you?
pushing the book.
It's rough. It's not my first thing. So for
Mhm.
me, you see what I did. I just went straight
Right.
from promoting other people.
Mhm. Right. And that's been part of your success, I'm sure.
well,
So,
well, that's the hope. That's the hope.
yes.
My great hope is that people will see my little ads come up here and there, and they'll
Mhm.
go, oh, well, she interviewed me, or she read my stuff and commented,
Right.
she did this, da, 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 and
Mhm.
made me feel like doing it back. We got to get some real readers, though, in that pool. You know what I
And
mean?
I agree. I did my first Fussy Librarian push on Friday, and
Oh,
I've seen some new readers, but I don't think anybody's reading yet. So that's discouraging.
do you have now your genre? Okay,
Mhm.
just I'm going off the interview because I'm just like talking
Right.
to you now. But so you found Vella, like when?
Well, I
Last
heard it mentioned in the one Facebook group of the indie authors I follow, and it kept being mentioned. And I'm like, maybe I should just kind of see if my dream is a reality. So in December, I'm like, okay, let me put out what I already have written. And it did take off, which shocked me. And then when I saw the money I was earning, that
year?
shocked me more. And I'm like, well, I can use this platform to reinvest in myself to make that dream a reality. And it
Right on,
has.
kid, right
Yep.
on.
And
So
that's where I'm at.
what was the first thing you stuck out there?
It was a Dirus, about a pack of dire wolves that, um, I guess they still exist in the Canadian wilderness, because you look at how big Canada is, and hey, maybe there's some out there. But yeah, a new
Okay.
pack, maybe. Then I always wonder that when I go hiking, because I hike a lot, and when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you're like, what's out here with me? And you know there's animals watching you, especially when you pass fresh bear scat. You're like, okay, I know you're here. But that kind of inspired me to write this story, that this pack of dire wolves moved into Yellowstone because there's a lot of prey there, and it's a perfect place to hole up and survive.
Wow. And Dirus is no doubt their alpha.
Well, Dirus is dire wolf. Like, it's the Latin name of it's Dirus something. Let me see. I don't think I even wrote it down. No, but
No.
yeah, I'm unprepared. Yeah, but it's the Latin word for a dire wolf, and
Okay.
I kind of used it as a code on my spreadsheet. Like, when I saved my work, I said Dirus, because I'm horrible at naming books. Or picking out names.
Okay.
But I went on.
No, you're horrible. You just started, man.
I know. Well, that's probably the worst part of the book writing, is titling it. But I went on online, and I couldn't find any books with the name Dirus. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just stick with it. So it's catchy. It's one word. But
yeah, it is. And man, people dig that with a shovel.
Yeah.
You know, they love that. How many episodes have you got Dirus up to now?
It's complete, and I think it's at 56 or 57.
How many words?
I want to say about 85,000 words. So if you read the complete, all the episodes, and you're reading a full-length novel.
Right on. When are we going to see Dirus out in book form, my dear?
I'm working on it. I did the easy part by getting the book cover and the marketing materials, and right now I'm working with an editor. Hopefully she'll accept me and we'll work together well. But after I speak to you, I'm going to reach out to her and submit my samples for her to edit and see if we're a match.
I'll be done.
Once she's finished, then I'll put it out in book form. And hopefully after that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So you didn't have an editor for it to go up on Vella?
No, I just self-edited, and I ran it through Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid, just back and forth until I worked out all the errors, at least most of them. I know there's still stuff in there I didn't catch, because you read it a million times and you still miss words.
Sure you do. But I've heard of Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid. I don't use them.
Yeah, I like Pro Writing Aid. Grammarly, I use the free version, but I'm not as fond of it. Pro Writing Aid, I think, is a little more professional.
Did you pay for that?
Yeah, and it's not expensive. I think I paid $60 for the year, but it opens up so many reports, and you can compare your writing styles to other writers. So I do that.
Do you really?
Yeah. Well, Michael Crichton's one of my favorites, so I compare my writing style to his, and I have to say I do better on all the little graphs, but he's more successful, so I can't.
Well, Avi, Michael Crichton, household name.
Yes.
And so we're looking for LJ Vitanza to become a household name.
Which would be nice.
Yes. And I want my copy of Dirus when you're done with it, so that
yeah, absolutely.
so that I can have it, hold it up, show everybody, because that's my thing. All right. Now, do you have anything else out on Vella?
Yes, I have Arctodus, which is a sequel. It's just a couple characters that carry over. And that one's it takes place in my town where I live in Wyoming, a mountain town. And it's a bear that used to exist back in the Ice Age.
Oh, God.
So he woke up to it was a rough winter, and his prey didn't return yet. So he had to go look for him. And he came across man. So it's another creature horror.
Oh, God.
Right.
Nobody will ever go outside again.
I know. Or camping.
No.
Except me.
Yeah. Okay. So how much do you work full time, or do you?
No, it's kind of surprising. I was a housewife my whole adult life. So a mom of 4. And then I was like the PTA mom, the booster mom. I was the one begging everybody for money for whatever organization I was representing.
Man, that is so awesome. And then you just decided here's COVID, my kids are getting older, and if I want my voice to be heard, I'm going to have to start writing some words.
Right. I have 2 kids in college and 2, well, one will be in high school next year. So 2 in high school, but one will be ready to leave after next year. So they're independent and don't need me anymore, or at least they won't admit it, but I have more, right. I have more time to myself now, and I got tired of laundry and cooking. So here I am. It's my time now.
You got tired of laundry and cooking. It took that long?
It took that, well, no, but it took me that long to say it out loud.
I was tired of laundry and cooking a long time ago.
Yeah, laundry I don't mind because I could still pop in a movie and sit there and fold, but yeah.
Wow.
But now it's time for me now.
Yes, it's time for you, Lisa. It's time for you. So then you approach this in a very methodical, very successful way. I love it. It is definitely you're like the Mandalorian. This is the way.
No.
This is the way, buddy. This is the way right here.
Well, if I did it, I wanted to do it right.
It was good. It was a good way to approach it. So you've got these 2 fantastic. So Arctodus is about the bear. So that's going to be, we're going to see people get their arms and shit ripped off for sure.
Right. Well, he's a big bear. He's like in real life, if we stood next to him, we'd be looking probably at his mouth. He was a giant bear. So if you can think about that, there's nowhere to hide from him because he's that big.
No. I mean, I think about the polar bear, and if we stood next to a polar bear, we'd be looking at not even his armpit. We wouldn't even be up to his armpit.
And he would have to look up at this bear because this bear is that much bigger.
So we'd be looking at this guy's knee or something.
We'd be looking at him and looking at his nose. Well, yeah, probably his nose. I think he was 6 foot tall, kind of at the head and shoulder blades.
Are you talking on all 4s?
On all 4s. And then he stood up, and I think they said the tallest one they think reached about 14 feet. So you couldn't even hide in a tree. He'd just yank you out. Yeah. And he was everywhere in the US, not just Wyoming.
They could climb, man.
Yeah, they think, because nobody knows anything about him, but they do think he may have climbed. They think he may have been a fast runner. They just don't know for sure.
Oh, for God's sake. So what you posit is that he was like frozen.
No, he still existed, I said. But like in real life, they think that they kind of regressed away from and kind of hid because they were afraid of man when man appeared. So I have this bear that's been hiding all along in the mountains, afraid of man. But then when he's hungry, he has to overcome that fear. So,
whoa.
Yep. And I have a big mountain range behind my house. It's 100 miles by 30 miles wide. So that's like 3,000 square miles. And most of it's probably unexplored, and who knows what's up there.
Dear God.
So, yeah, there's a lot of places for animals to hide.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are. Well, this is fantastic, and I've talked to several people who have read your work, and what stuck out of my mind was they said she writes these creatures' thoughts like nobody ever, and so you must write from the point of view of the creature in your.
I kind of switch back and forth because they're hungry. They don't look at man as they don't care. It's just we're food.
Yeah.
So I kind of do switch back and forth. And I do credit that to Peter Benchley. I don't know if you've ever read Jaws, but his opening, his very first chapter, and I think it's the only chapter he does this, he writes it from the shark's point of view. And that kind of pulled me in because when I first started writing my book, I didn't have the creature. I didn't introduce the creature first. And then I was like, people might think it's a monster or they won't know what it is. And I don't want to leave that much mystery to it. And then they get to it and they're like, oh, it's a wolf or it's a bear. So I kind of opened it from their point of view.
Nice. Well, that's cool. And you're following in good footsteps there. Jaws is huge.
Yeah. Although I have to say, I love the movie. I saw the movie when I was 5, when it was in theaters, and it's terrified me. And here's what's funny too, is when I turned 10, we moved to the Florida Keys, and I hated the water. I lived on an island and I hated the water. So I was like Sheriff Brody. I mean, when we go water skiing or diving, I was always looking around. I wasn't enjoying the moment.
It's
So,
hard to enjoy the moment, honestly. I find it so, and I am not super paranoid, but
right.
that ocean is huge.
And you're at the bottom of the food chain when you step into it.
Sure are. You sure
Right.
are. You definitely are. I remember I went to Hawaii and I drifted out. And if a dude hadn't come out and swam out and got me, I don't know what would have happened, because I'm not a strong swimmer and I had
Right.
like no sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't intentional. It's just the land kept getting a lot farther away.
I haven't had any of those moments, but no,
Yeah, well,
it's a horror movie in
the dude
itself.
took a jellyfish sting to come
yeah.
get me too. He took a jellyfish sting. I came out unscathed.
Yeah, that
He
happened to
got
my
stung by
sister.
a jellyfish.
We were learning how to surf in Hawaii, and she got pegged by a jellyfish and was screaming her head off. And I thought shark, so I was terrified. But yeah, then I got mad at her when we got back, and it was only a jellyfish.
Man, they hurt though. They hurt.
Yeah,
They make your
I know. I
skin
felt
just
bad.
blister. Oh, it's god awful.
Right.
But yeah, but I understand. I understand you yelling at her when you go.
Yeah.
We got our monster girl here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's great that you've written these and you've been happy, right, with your success.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Yep. And I met so many people. So like writers too. It's a great community.
It is.
So, yep.
It is. We've talked about that a bunch on this show, and it's really one of the things that makes you want to continue writing.
Right. I know if I was still on my own, I'd feel alone in this, but just there's so much advice, so much support, and everybody helps everybody. Nobody's trying to pull each other down, and that's great.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful too. And we got to keep that up, and we got to find more readers, like we were talking about before we turned on the record. And
we needed to open up internationally.
Yeah. You know,
my
that's
the big creature horror base from what I read is in Australia, so I'm pushing for Australia.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, good God, I mean, why not? You know what I mean?
Right.
Living in Australia, it's like everywhere.
Well, everything there wants to kill you too.
Yeah.
And then yet they still want to read about creatures.
You go out to the car and there's this huge coconut spider on your wall, right?
No,
you're like, holy crap. Then you try to open the door to your car and then there's a freaking boa constrictor inside your car and you're like, knock that thing out and you go down. You're trying to drive down the road and you see your little dog and here you see an alligator rocking up the thing. And God damn it, you know?
No. No, I don't do spiders, and that terrifies me.
And do you remember, and I know that they show this on the internet, it's an annual thing. They get those spiders annually down there and they just cover everything in webs.
I'd have a flamethrower and a safe space. Yeah. I lived in Dallas too for some time, and every year in the spring there'd be these spiders that just float in the air with their webs to find new places, and I'd be driving and I would just see them latching onto my car's antenna, and it was like a horror movie in itself. Just hitting all these spiders and then getting out and just knowing that they might land on you. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, man, just like Charlotte's Web, except it's real and they're spiders, they're creeping out.
Yeah, nope. I don't do spiders.
Well, you know, you're a creature horror gal.
I know.
You're a creature horror gal.
I'd have nightmares if I wrote about that.
So what else have we got what you got in the hopper for us?
Well, I have one more Vella. It's a short story collection called Red Herring Anthology.
Oh, that's right. And everything has a twist.
Yes. And I got that from Twilight Zone. I liked that as a kid too.
Oh man, me too. Big fan.
So I always liked the episodes most where I just didn't see it coming. So I try to do that with my short stories.
Oh, I'm going to definitely subscribe to that. Yeah. Definitely.
And they're inspired by true events you see in the news or just driving down the road. Just like the driver that has a Save the Children license vanity plate and they're the ones speeding and tailgating and cutting cars off. I mean, just that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, seeing people like that inspired me.
Very cool. What was your favorite? Can you name a favorite Twilight Zone?
I forget the name of it, but it's with the person that could stop time. And when they finally do, there's a missile like right in the air above them. I don't remember the name. He has a special watch or stopwatch, and he can make time stop when he wants to and go.
I
Then
remember that. And then
it's
that
the
missile
start
thing.
of a missile launch. Yeah, and it's hanging in the air. So they're kind of stuck with time stopped, and he's alone, or she. I don't even remember what it was.
I can't remember either, but yeah, I
Mhm.
remember the missile. I remember the missile.
Right.
That's what sticks
Yeah.
out in my head.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one is the one they had. Burgess Meredith did a number of them, right?
Okay.
But
Right.
the one where he was super henpecked and the world had ended and he was just fine with it. He didn't give a rat's ass that the world had ended. He just wanted to sit around and read, but then stepped on his glasses.
I remember that. Yeah, that was good too. Of course, I'd be looking everywhere for a pair of glasses.
Yeah, you know, nowadays we're like, why don't you just go down the street? But that was
Right.
how it was back then.
Right.
You know, that was in what, the 60s, man. You had to like go to the doctor, get your eyes examined,
and
then
wait weeks
right, get the
Mhm.
lenses ground and back to you and whatnot. So it wasn't like it is now. So he was just
Right.
kind of like up a shit creek without a paddle, you know.
Right.
And I loved
Yeah.
that. I loved that.
Yeah, that was a great one too.
And
Yep.
was it the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits where they showed a person who wanted to get surgery on their face, but they wouldn't show their face, right? You know, it turned out she was sort of like the Munsters deal where Marilyn
Right.
was supposed to be so ugly and
Mhm.
whatnot, but
Yeah.
then the people all had noses like this.
Yeah, I think that was Twilight Zone.
Uh,
Because I remember that, but I don't think I ever watched Outer Limits.
yeah, I think beauty was in the eyes of the beholder, I think.
Yeah,
is what it's called,
right.
like that.
Yeah,
I
no,
like
that was a good one too. Yep.
So yeah, so I think that Vella is a really good platform for that type of anthology.
Mhm.
I think it's fantastic.
Right. I know there's a lot of good short stories out there.
Not to be crude, but I call them bathroom stories, and I think those are
they're quick
chicken
reads.
dinner. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
great for, and I think they're fantastic for making a name for yourself. I suck at the
I
short
hope so.
story. I suck at the short story. So I admire anyone who can do it because it's a really awesome calling card for a writer.
It's fun too, because you could just get it all out and it's over with. It's not, you don't have to think of a lot more detail and ongoing stories.
Right.
But,
right. Who cares what else is going on? This is happening here.
Right. It's a quick story. Like yeah. That can't be built into a long one.
So do you have anything else for us?
I am working on a bunch, working on too much. I'm so stretched, but I'm also planning the third in my creature horror series, and it's Mirasononyx, which is hard. When you see the word, it's confusing. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to shorten that one. But that one is about another creature that used to live in the United States back in the Ice Age, and it's the reason why pronghorn are the second fastest animal in the world. So
what? It's the fastest.
So this creature is fast, and it kind of got the pronghorn, which is our antelope on the plains here. They reach speeds that are 1 mile shorter than a cheetah in Africa. But the pronghorn can run longer than a cheetah, so it's debatable whether what's the fastest animal, cheetah or pronghorn. So, but since we live in America, I'll say the pronghorn.
So you're all into the you really research and dig into what was around.
Right. I read everything I can. There's not a lot of work on like dire wolves and the Arctodus bear. I mean, I've read everything I could find online. And of course, like anything, the scientific community split on what was real and what, like everybody has their own opinion. So I just kind of meet in the middle and take the better features to make it a more exciting story.
Exactly. Take what you need and leave the rest.
Right. Yep. So, but yeah, I'm planning that one, and then I'm working on a dystopian one, which also will take place in Wyoming. I've always wanted to write a end of world type series, and I think that would be fun. So it'll go a different way, but it's also based on something that's real, but it's genetically changed to wreak havoc in the world, and it does.
Wow.
And that'll take place here. The group's hiking in the mountains, and they come out, and it's kind of like the end of the world. They don't know what's going on. They have to piece it together without becoming victims themselves.
This is making me think about, but I don't know whether you're
Mhm.
going to have a creature or not, but you remember, what was the name of that? Eye Dragon or Dragon something?
Yeah, I don't remember.
No, Rain of Fire. Rain of
Okay.
Fire.
Mhm.
Do you remember that movie? It's a dragon movie. It
I haven't.
posits that it starts out, it's so good, and it has
Mhm.
that dude in it that played Batman. Of course, everybody and their dog has played Batman.
I know.
So that
Michael.
narrows it down, not at all. Christian Bale.
Okay.
So Christian Bale was the lead. But anyway, the movie starts out, he's a little boy. He goes down into this tunnel where his mother works. She works with like a hard hat crew for the city, and they're digging this tunnel. And the kid goes down there to talk to his mother about something. And anyway, his mother's trying to send him back up because it's dangerous down there. There's gases and stuff like that. And they hit a pocket and they punch through this wall, and out flies this monstrous creature, right?
Okay.
And turns out he was just hibernating. They hibernate for many, many, many generations.
Okay.
And then he came out and he woke up a bunch of eggs. Okay. And they're, and just like, this person really thought it out when they wrote this thing, because it's like when you think about dragons, right? Fire breathing, lizard like beings, we would be screwed. I mean, screwed.
Right.
And we were in this movie, we were, because what they fed off of was ashes. So they wanted to burn everything to ash.
Okay.
And so they were burning everything. You got caught out in a field, they'd toast you just to eat the burned up crusty you know.
Some charred meat. Okay.
Oh, nice. But that reminds me of it, because it had gotten so bad. We were like, it was end of the world type deal. People were living underground.
Okay. No, I haven't seen that, but no, I wrote it down, so I'll check that one out.
Yeah, you got
Christian
Rain
Bale.
of Fire, man. It
Okay.
was well done and dark. The whole movie is dark. I don't even think. I mean, even though it sort of had a good ending, it was still.
Yeah. Well, mine's kind of inspired by COVID and how it's something created to kind of take out the US, but it backfires and it goes around the world, kind of like COVID. So
yeah,
something genetically modified that maybe could come true. And hopefully I don't inspire some mad scientists to do that, but it happens, and these people got to figure out how to move forward in life.
Well, life imitates art. How much of the population are you having go down?
It's going to be almost a lot of people, including like animals.
Like 90%?
It could be. I mean, I haven't really thought, but until people wisen up and realize what's causing it and how to stop it. And the problem is too, it also takes out animals. It's non-discriminatory. So you're losing your food supply too. What? Yeah. So I just want to go a different direction.
What's the name of that? We're screwed?
No, it's going to be encased. So encased. Something that kind of uses us as their breeding ground to keep producing. Yes.
Wonderbar. Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Good thoughts there, honey. Good thoughts. Good thoughts. All right.
I'm a warped person.
And don't we love it? Don't we love it?
All these years, this Girl Scout mom, nobody really knew who she was.
That's right. They'll have you on the news next.
No. And I'm also, and one thing I'm also doing too is writing children's books to kind of be an accompany to my adult books. It'll be like the cute, funny versions, because children replicate their parents' behavior. And if they see mom and dad reading a dire wolf book, of course they can't read that, but it would be fun to have a kid's version that they could read at the same time.
Well, that's really thoughtful.
Imitate their parents. Yeah. So I think that's the mom in me.
I think so.
So,
I love it though.
yeah. So,
So
I'm working
that's
on
great.
2 of those. Mhm.
So you're working on 2 children's books?
Yes. And they're so much easier to write too. And you don't have to put as much thought in it, and the vocabulary is easier. So, and they're less critical, I think.
Children,
hope, I should say.
sometimes. Who's illustrating for you?
I don't have an illustrator yet, so I might see. I'm not going to have a whole lot of illustration. It'll be for like elementary age, but I might reach out to local artists and see if somebody would be interested. We have a great community here, a lot of artsy people, so it'd be great to use local talent.
So where are you in
versus
Wyoming?
somebody overseas? I live an hour and a half south of Jackson and about 3 hours south of Yellowstone. So, and I don't know, it's a perfect place. It's not too crazy during the summers when millions of people arrive, but far enough away from that.
That's good. That's good.
I love it. Yeah. I lived in Wyoming when I was a kid at one point, and I think it was the point that set me up for what I want in life, and it was the mountains. So I had to leave Florida and all my friends and family in Florida, but yeah.
Well, my goodness. So when did you move to Wyoming?
4 years ago. We lived in Dallas. Yeah, we lived in Dallas. My husband worked for an airline, and he was kind of getting burnt out. And we were just in a position, and we had a tragedy in our family, and we realized that we've got to live our lives now. And the tragedy was I lost my nephew, who was 12 years old, in a car accident. And just seeing how that tears up your family, destroys, it just really makes you question life. But we used that to come here and start living how we want to live.
Yeah.
And we were lucky. My husband got a job, so he works out of the home, and it's just, we can continue our lifestyle without any drastic changes, but we've slowed down and enjoy our lives a lot more.
Right. What'd the kids say about moving?
They were divided. Of course, my oldest had a boyfriend. She didn't want to leave the boyfriend, but they were excited for the changes. And we always dragged them up here every summer to enjoy it. So it was like a permanent vacation.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad it worked out that way.
Yes.
And I'm glad you're living the life you want.
Yes.
It seems like the pandemic has done that for quite a few people, even
quite
a few people that I've actually interviewed. So, if you can find similarities in such a small sampling, that it must be a pretty widespread phenom, because I know it was a great thing for me.
Right.
I couldn't have asked for anything better than to be retired early and sent to the house so I could write. So
right. That's working out for you too.
It is, very much so. And I'm very grateful daily.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't take one life for granted or one day for granted anymore.
No.
Yep.
Because like we said, there's plenty that don't have that privilege anymore.
Right. Yep.
So, anywho, without getting maudlin,
I know, getting depressed. I don't crying.
want to go down that road. Let's recoup and regroup on the question of, since you read so many Vellas and before you started, who are you going to give a shout out to? Who do you like out there?
Well, you're backing me into a corner because there are so many great Vellas and writers, but I'm going to go with my top 3. Of course, the very first Vella I read was Dark by Tirzah M. Hawkins. So I have to give her a shout out.
Yep.
And I reached out to her first, and she's just the kindest person and very helpful, supportive.
She's wonderful.
Yep. And she doesn't laugh at my stupid questions, or at least she doesn't tell me she laughs at them.
No, she's
she might laugh away from me, but yes, she's great. And I love Dark. That one hooked me. It reminded me of Walking Dead and Quiet Place, the movies.
Yes.
The compendium. Yes. So, yep. And then second, Gage Greenwood, of course. I'm going with the big one. I don't know why, but I watched all his videos before I said, okay, I'll dive into Vella. So yes, but at the same time,
Gage Greenwood.
Yeah. If you ever heard of that guy, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I love his Vellas. On a Clear Day, You Can See Block Island.
Yes.
And Bunker Dogs. they're both twisted like my brain, I guess.
Bunker Dogs and On a Clear Day.
Yes.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
I have a third one I have to give a shout out to too. And it's Breanna Leslie with Sticks and serial fiction. I love serial fiction. I don't know if you've read that one.
Yes.
When she released it, I'm like, it's not really my genre that I enjoy reading, but I got hooked immediately. And that's one I think I check every day. I'm like, come on, there's got to be a new episode. But no pressure. After you have your baby, you can't stop writing. So, but I also want to give a shout out to some people, to some other writers who have been very supportive.
Yeah.
And they're also great too. But Jen Sequel, and then Tasha Creed, Liz Johnson, and then the very one and only Zach Lester, and AJ Humphreys, and then Jen Chep. So she's like a big fan of my Red Herring short stories. So I always like hearing from her.
Jen Sequel, Tasha Creed, Liz Johnson, AJ Humphreys, Jen Seep, Zach Lester.
And Jen, how you spell her last name is
CZEP. It's Seep.
Okay, is it Seep? I'm sorry, Jen.
She's got an interview out here.
Okay.
On Hella, you should look it up.
Okay, I missed that one. Okay, I'll look her up.
Yeah. So those are your shout outs for your kindness and
yes, just support, and they're fans as well. So just everything about them. So yep.
Well, that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't react as badly as I wanted to over Gage. I wanted to like knock the computer over.
You're probably tired of hearing his name, but
no, we got a little thing going. He knows he's shouted out a bunch because he sees it. It's at LinkedIn. And he has taken clips of me and he's like, watch Azriel get progressively annoyed at hearing my name mentioned, And so on one of the on an interview last week, poor guy, he didn't know anything about it. And I just lost my mind when he said Gage's name.
You should have had like just a dumbfounded look on your face, like you never heard the name before.
Maybe that's where I'll go next time. I want to go like Niagara Falls.
Can you spell Gage for me?
Yeah. Is that GAUGE like a tachometer?
It was at Redwood or
Yes. So anywho, that's good. And so the next question I got to ask you, I ask everybody, what would you do if you had all the buttons in front of you and had the power to change anything you wanted about Kindle Vella? What would you do to improve it, if anything?
Well, definitely bring in readers. That's the big thing. I know they're trying to some point, but I don't think they're trying enough. I'd like to see it put out there more. I think that would be my big thing. And just to open it up internationally. There's so many more people out there to hit up.
Yeah.
So, which is probably what everybody else says.
See, but it's my thought that once they give us that full international audience, the bonuses will stop. Because
that's what I'm afraid of too, because the royalties don't make it worthwhile.
Right.
The bonuses do.
I think the bonuses are to replace an international audience. And once they've got the full wrap around the world like Kindle, they'll pull them.
Right.
And they'll tell you let the market pay you.
And when I came into this, I know there was a lot of naysayers and because they've tried this before, I think, Amazon, and it collapsed. Yes, I came into this. Yeah, I just figured if it happens, it happens. I'll just run with it until something happens, either positive or negative. But I'll take advantage of it while it's here.
There's always going to be naysayers, always.
Right. Of course, I'm laughing at them. Like 6 months ago when they said it would collapse, and here I am. 6 months later, I've got a complete work, a half complete work, and all these bonuses in the meantime.
Yes, so, paying for covers.
Right, paying for covers, editing, just everything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yep. So it's a fantastic platform. And it's not like what they had before. What they had before was not monetized.
Okay.
It didn't have the microtransactions that this one does. It didn't make people purchase a block of coins to read. Yeah, so this is the next gen. They learned on that last one. And this one so closely mimics what's out there already. I don't think it's going to fail.
And I hope not. I'd like to see it succeed. And I'd like to continue. I think it holds me accountable. It's nice to kind of use it to write my book and help me take it to the next level. So
I think so too.
I'll continue using it for that reason.
Yeah, and that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to take everything that I write and spin it out through Kindle Vella and then spin it up into a book.
Right.
Go from there. I'm just going to use that as my pathway.
Right. Because if I didn't use Vella and I just had to trust myself to write every day, I probably wouldn't. I'd be down doing laundry or doing something else, or there's too many distractions. But if I treat this as a job and it's holding me accountable, and I'm doing a great word count every week and making progress now.
Yeah, isn't that
and
great?
It's snowballing into success for me. So
I'm so happy.
I love it. Yep.
I'm so glad. Well,
it's a great run.
The last question is, since we're going to put links to all your stories down here in the video description, what would you like to say to the people who are clicking on them for the first time and taking a read on your stuff?
Thank you, of course. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it without your support, and just keep reading. It's a roller coaster. My stories, I think, are a roller coaster. So I like to keep it full of action.
Wow. Well, I can't wait. I'm going to go and look at the Red Herring Anthology right after we get off the phone. So I can procrastinate writing some more myself. So you guys, from Azrael and Lisa, y'all have a wonderful day. Happy Sunday.
Yes, thank you.
Be sure and be out here on Vella. Tell your friends, comment, and definitely
claim
give
the
channel a follow and tell everybody we need to get the word out there about Vella. People start reading again. I think people have stopped because it takes so long to read an actual book. But this
and the great thing about
it's
you can read in bed
to the reader as it is to the writer.
Right. Yep. And this platform's great at night when it's dark. My husband's sleeping. I just turn on my phone and I keep reading without distracting them. So,
well, there you go, you guys. And thanks so much for being with me on Hella Vella here. And we'll be seeing you out there in the Vellaverse. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.